Welcome to the Comic Binge special Halloween edition episode. I am your host Paul Herman. I had to move today's episode to today because basically I forgot that we're having the Slot Symposium come out yesterday. So, oops, silly me. But here I am today to talk about some Halloween recommendations, a Halloween comic book to talk about with Bloodstained Teeth today, along with some of our recommendations. And I'm not alone. I'm very, very excited to have Ada Pizza Time with me. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring us on here. And oh my gosh, my mouse is not working. Here we go. But before I do that, please do me a favor and go hit the subscribe button. It only makes sense, right? And hit the like button also. Got lots of great episodes planned up next month. Lots of stuff. And I can't wait to even talk about that here in just a second. But yes, we've got a great Halloween episode to talk about. I can't wait to get everyone on the show here today. All but there'll be two of us today. No big deal. But I've got Adam Pizza Time. How we doing today, Adam?
Pretty good. I actually did have pizza today, so fortuitous. It's good to be back.
Right. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a while. It's been a little too long, I think. It's been a little too long. But anyway, do you have any big Halloween?
You don't call, you don't write, you don't
shut
text.
up. Oh, shut up. Do you have any big Halloween plans?
It doesn't look like it this year.
All right.
I don't know. Why? Maybe something will pop up. I don't know.
Do you try to watch monster movies during the month?
Sometimes.
Okay. What about monster comic books?
Yeah, I've read some of those this month.
All right, that's fair. I know. I think I've made you read most of those.
Yes, you did. You made me read.
Okay, that's fair.
I've read dozens of issues.
Yeah.
Of comics this month because of you.
But
10 I just read today for this show.
Yeah. But those 10, besides the 10 today, the other dozens or so issues, I said you got to read them, and you read them on your own accord. Like you just kept going.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to, because you said you were doing that show, and I was like, well, I might as well. I don't know. So regardless, I just kept reading. I was like, I'm gonna read as much as I can before he does that show. And I actually surprised myself because I had a high goal, and I didn't think I would get to it, and I was gonna stop. I was like, I'll keep going, and then I hit the goal and went over, and yeah.
So we're talking about Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
We're talking about this beautiful comic that I had a great conversation with BJ Kicks from Comics Are Dope. Love that guy. He's awesome. Are you gonna keep reading though?
I'm almost done. I've got 4 issues left.
Oh shoot! Yeah, boy, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's so fantastic. I think it's just I need to go back and read the whole thing. After reading this first leg of the trade with BJ, it was I was like, man, I need to go back and read this because it's so good. I would say I think it's whole thing's a masterpiece. I will admit that on the last third, I would say somewhere in the third, it kind of lags a little bit, it's just a little bit. It's not, I wouldn't say it's bad, but I wouldn't say it spins its wheels, but it does a little bit. But I feel like it writes itself pretty quickly. So
a lot of the hard hitting emotional stuff is in that back half, I would say.
True,
so
true.
Yeah, it's it's fascinating to see the evolution of it. It starts fairly simply, and then it builds. There's this one, there's essentially a villain for each third.
Yeah, it's true.
That it builds up to, okay, it's somewhat humble, kind of low key beginnings. It's very intimate horror mystery stuff, and then it expands. It builds, builds. You get big enemies, and yeah, it's great. It's engaging, and it's. I told you it feels like something that will be hard to top, to say the least. Like it feels like a definitive statement on the character.
And yeah, and we talked about that too. And I told you, I said, you could have said the same thing for, Peter David. And you could have said the same thing for, maybe I wouldn't say Mantlo wasn't, as a huge Hulk fan growing up, no one talked about Mantlo's run. It wasn't until Al Ewing started doing Immortal Hulk that I discovered Mantlo's run, because he uses a lot from that. And I read it when I was right around when the pandemic / my daughter was born, and I devoured that run, and it's incredible. And I've gone on and on about the Immortal Hulk episode, which we might touch on Immortal Hulk again. And again, if you're just now joining us, please comment, talk about some Halloween recommendations you have, leave it in the comments, horror comics, whatever you want, you want to talk about. So hit the like button, all that jazz. I hate saying hit the like button. It's so obnoxious, but that's the only way I get out there. It's the only way I do it. So we're going to talk about a comic that I really wanted to talk about for Halloween called Bloodstained Teeth. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I do have some comic Halloween recommendations, and I guess we'll start off with we'll kind of continue a little bit with what we're talking about, the one that you wanted to bring up, and I think I would have brought up anyway, is Immortal Hulk, which we talked about for obviously already a little bit, but that's what your recommendation was. I said this on the show. I said this for I said this for the actual, like, everywhere. I'm like, this is a great Halloween comic. This is perfect. Like, this is a perfect Halloween comic. And after reading it around Halloween, it fits perfectly. I need to keep going. What I compared this to, and I don't know if I said it on the show with BJ or not, but I said, I think that Immortal Hulk is basically like the Hulk meets David Lynch. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, because I think I thought about that when I was reading it, because you've said that a few times, I think, when you've talked about it, in our groups and things.
Yeah, sure.
And I think about especially like I think about Bob and like the origin of Bob and in Twin Peaks: The Return and all that
Bob,
stuff.
hell yeah.
Uh-huh. And it's like, it reminds me of that. Essentially.
Yeah.
Like the gamma,
the gamma door.
Like the gamma,
the green door. Yeah.
Well, the green door, but the fact that, when they do the gamma bomb test and he saves Rick Jones, and like that causes this explosion, not in the physical sense, but like the metaphysical sense of like, it brings out the Hulk, it brings out all this evil, which was in the Return of Twin Peaks. They go into like the origin of Bob and how, it kind of, if I'm remembering right, it was like there was the nuclear bomb essentially kind of was essential in creating Bob, this evil force. And I think about that when I'm reading this, like how it all ties back to just this
one
basically
moment.
Like one moment, like caused by humanity, essentially.
Oh, dude,
humanity humanity creates like the ultimate evil almost.
Yeah.
Or like unleashes the ultimate. This one action of humanity causes this ultimate evil to just be unleashed on our world. This like this otherworldly thing.
Man, like, talking about Twin Peaks, I actually went to the Double R Diner last Saturday at Tweed's Cafe, and God, I forgot how much I love Twin Peaks. It's so good. The return wasn't perfect, but the return is, aside people from comics for a second, Twin Peaks talk. aside from a few imperfections, of the show,
when it was good, it was great.
Oh, dude, that episode, the black and white episode, like, that episode is an all-time, maybe one of the best single episodes of TV I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible. Oh God, that episode's so good. Incredible. It's like I said, not perfect, but still, I love it. Twin Peaks. Anyway, but back to Immortal Hulk. Yeah, I would say this is by far the best, one of the best. I mean, it's one of the best comics I think Marvel Comics ever written, in my opinion. So, um, yeah, great Halloween book. Great recommendation, Adam. Good job. um,
I got to
okay,
talk about it somehow because you were like, you got to read this. So
yeah. I'm just glad you're almost done with it. That's crazy.
yeah, it's
Like,
taken like, it's been like, I guess a week, almost 2 weeks.
speaking of Twin Peaks, I know, you love that too, right? I mean, come on, there, so yeah, I know he loves it Twin Peaks like crazy. So, um, but anyway, but yeah, like, so anyway, I'm gonna go to an almost like a deep cut. It's kind of like a weird. It's not derivative, but it was inspired. I'm gonna blow myself up just for this here. Uh, this is a no duh. This is like the most obvious of like recommendations of all time. But speaking of Immortal Hulk, what inspired Immortal Hulk essentially to be created at all because of Tom Brevoort apparently is obviously go ahead and read Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. So
Hmm.
this is like essential comic reading 101. I would say like comic, anything. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is like legendary. It's a masterpiece. I will one day cover it. I haven't read the whole thing. I read this one obviously. This is the first trade. Uh, and this is an old trade too, by the way. I bought this like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Um,
that looks like one of the first
yeah,
like when they first maybe started doing them sequentially like 20 years ago.
yeah,
That looks like one
exactly.
of the early ones.
My wife and I, between the two of us, we got both of them, and this is fantastic. I haven't read all of it, but anyway, I yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where this is an obvious. This is Captain Obvious. Read this, but because without this, you wouldn't get this. But this is not one for one. It's similar. You can see the inspiration and what what they were kind of going for, but this is like vastly different. This is still great. This is amazing, but this is prime Halloween stuff in here, man. Like this has got monsters galore, horror, crazy, crazy craziness. It's super good. I mean, it's a masterpiece. But yeah, this is Captain Obvious. So I just wanted to throw Captain Obvious out there. All right, let's go to your recommendation here.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, hit me up with your go ahead and spiel.
Well, because I figured I needed to come prepared with something. I was like, what can I recommend beside Immortal Hulk, which you made me read?
That's right. God
And I
damn it.
was like, because I was like, what's I was like, what have I read that's sort of like horror like? And I remembered that I read this Sandcastle just kind of on a whim. I was telling you I was just kind of I think I brought it up. I skimmed through it a little bit, but then I read it. This was, I guess, the inspiration for the M. Night Shyamalan movie Old that came out a couple years ago.
Is it the same
Um,
story though, or is it only like inspired by kind of a thing?
I mean, it might be. I haven't seen the movie, but I from the trailers, it looks like it's taking the the same plot of these people are on a beach and all of a sudden they just start aging rapidly over the course of like, you know, the day. Um, so it's I haven't read this in a while. I mean it was like a couple years ago, but I remember there is an eeriness to it. There's a sense of mystery to it. I think it actually ends on kind of a heartwarming note if I'm remembering right. But it's a little I don't know. I think if it's got a creepiness and an eeriness to it. There's stuff that's unexplained, but it's still I think an interesting it was interesting to me when I read it. I was like, "Oh, okay. Hmm."
And this is only you said it. I think before the show, you said that this is only 100 pages.
I don't yeah, I
It's
can look
short,
that up again. It's like you can read it in like a day. It's
right?
it's like um
It's it's
it's not that long.
yeah. I've heard. I think I've heard from other people. I think besides you, this is not. Maybe it's only you. I don't know, but I've heard that it's not the longest thing. But I've heard it's good. I mean, there's a reason why M. Night wanted to use it. I mean,
Sure.
and I like M. Night. I'm not one of those haters. So Sandcastle for
Yeah,
you.
it's over about 100 pages. It's like a little over 100 pages, I think.
Yeah. So you got Immortal Hulk and Sandcastle. Those are fantastic selections. It sounds like I need to check out Sandcastle. It looks good.
It's interesting. Maybe we'll do a show about that next year or something.
Yeah. You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me. All right, I'm back to blowing up here. All right, next recommendation for me. I have raved about this comic for a long time, but it is perfect Halloween book. This is a Ram V's where I discovered Ram V from These Savage Shores, which maybe I've already talked about or recommended for Halloween, but I'm not gonna shut up about it because it's on Vault. It's through Vault Comics, which is probably some of the highest independent comics, in my opinion, you can get out there just on a consistent level of interesting and like good stuff. I've read so many great Vault comics. And no, they're not sponsoring me at all. They should, but they don't. But this is just I love this book to death. I think this is what I was like.
I love that cover.
Oh, dude.
I'm
I'm going to not spoil it because I just got it on a whim for some reason. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I got it. I picked it up, and I'm not going to reveal what it's really about. I recommend people don't. I'll just say this. It's definitely worthy of Halloween. Just say that. And the less you know going into it, the better. The art is just fantastic. I need to find out who the artist is. Always forget. Age. Oh, that's not him. 1 second. Oh, that's the credits here. It's Sumit Kumar. And I'm probably butchering that name. But Sumit Kumar, I'm not sure if they're doing anything now, but they should be because their art is fantastic. It's a quality book. It's a super great quality looking comic, great layouts, great right. I mean, the plot. Ram V, man, is maybe one of the most underappreciated writers in comics, in my opinion. I feel like people are dogging his detective run, which we are definitely going to cover here at some point. A lot of my Batman homies don't like his detective run. I love it. I think it's great.
I should probably read it.
You should. It's ambitious, but it's not. It's ambitious, and you could say it's pretentious in some ways.
That's probably why people don't like it.
I can see that. So anyway, These Savage Shores is a fantastic Halloween comic. I'll probably recommend it every year. I don't care. It's just great. Go read it. Tell Ram V I sent you because I love him. And then maybe he'll come on the show one day. Who knows? Last recommendation is a recent, I just bought it and I really wanted to read it. And I was able to read it all in a week through being slow at work. And I got to tell you, this was better than I was ever anticipating, Adam. I was like, I remember I liked it when I was a kid.
I think didn't you recommend this last year? I think you didn't. I swear that when you did the recommendation show last year, you might have recommended this.
I don't know. We'll find out. So, thank you, Andrew. I love you. And if you haven't already, guys, hit that select button, like button, whatever it is. This would be Ghost Rider Spirit or Vengeance Reborn, which is this is the 90s Ghost Rider. This is Danny Ketch, to me the only Ghost Rider. This is by Howard Mackie with art by I think it's Javier. Somebody, I'm gonna butcher names here. Help me out, man. Come on, you're better at pronouncing things than I am. Hold on, what's his name? It's Mark Teixeira. He's the inker. He's the inker. He's not the artist.
Not the artist.
The inker. It's Javier Salters. I'm not again. Yeah, sorry, you got out there. Say it again. Oh, you're muted.
Let me look.
Okay, look that up. All right. Anyway, but Mark Teixeira draws. He eventually takes over as I believe as the artist, but he's the inker, and he eventually does some late. And I think he does. I think he's mainly an inker, and then draws the Microsoft, the Marvel Comics Presents series that this is in here, and then he takes over the main series eventually. But Howard Mackey's not my favorite writer. I don't think he's not like anyone blows my socks off.
I've heard
But
this is good though.
dude, this is fantastic.
I have heard. I follow a blog. This guy's reading like every Marvel comic, and he's like in the early '90s now, and he's like, I think since read a lot of this Ghost Rider stuff, and he gave it very high marks.
No, it's really hilarious because I feel like in the Wizard era, this got overlooked because it just came out right before Wizard, and I feel if Wizard had come out right right when this was coming out or like whatever, then I think they would have been they would have promoted this, and this probably would have been even more successful because this was a pretty successful title. I mean, they eventually offshooted the Midnight Suns from this, offshoot the Spirits of Vengeance. You know, this is how Blade came back, basically, was through Ghost Rider. I mean, Ghost Rider was such a success, and it's really well written. It's dark, it's really dark. But the art's fantastic, the layouts are great, the inking's fantastic. This is probably an underrated Marvel comic, to be honest. Like, this is really good. Like, I was surprised how much I love this, because I thought I'd enjoy it. You know, I love Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, but now I'm like, oh, there's a reason why I love this so much. It's really freaking good. Like, this is, I mean, like, just like the Mark Teixeira's like inks are just. I mean, this is just. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just
that looks
fantastic.
Good.
You know, so
I think the artist's name is Javier Salteras.
Thank you.
I think
I'll take it.
That sounds right to me. I don't know.
Sounds right to me. Everyone, everyone got
I'm not
that?
sure, but
no. But this is. I'm telling you all. Like, this came out this month, and Epics go out of print. If you don't, you know, they're not gonna go out of print anytime soon. But
this will be around for a while, probably
for a couple of years, I'd say. Go pick this up. This is. I got this on sale, on a super sale from InStock. They usually have some things on like super sale. They must have really bought a lot of these because
I think they, from what I've seen, a lot of the new releases they sell the new releases for the first week at a like 10% higher discount, I think, or something.
Well, some of them do, not all of them. Some of them do, and this was one of them. And this was only like 20 something bucks I got it for. It's so good. Like, this is definitely worth go picking. Even paying full price, I think it's worth it. This is a great book, man. This is really good. Like, I again, I'm not the biggest Howard Mackey fan. This is nothing personal against him. I don't like overly love other stuff I've read, but this Ghost Rider is pretty damn good. Like, it's. I would say like he should get a lot of credit because I just reread some of the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider because of this comic, right? Like, because I wanted to read like what happened like to Ghost Rider, because they kind of mention a lot of that in this. They keep calling him like Zarthos, whatever it is. And I'm like, what happened there? And our old friend JMD Mateus wrote the last couple issues of Ghost Rider, and they're great, but I forgot like he was kind of a bad guy.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh yeah, he's kind of a bad guy in this. It's been a long time. I haven't read a ton of that Ghost Rider. Ironically, I had the first epic volume of the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, which I have not read. It's actually probably read that this weekend before sometime. But this is a much different version of that Ghost Rider. And to me, this is the superior version. Danny Ketch Ghost Rider is the Ghost Rider, in my opinion. It's my Ghost Rider. Maybe that's why. But no spoilers, but I'll say there's a reason why I like this one, and Johnny Blaze might be a reason. I'll just leave it there. No Spirit of Vengeance. Anyway, yeah, go pick this up. This is a perfect. This is grade A perfect Halloween comic to go read. So go get this. It's fantastic. Is that my last one? Yeah, it's my last one. So. Besides the one we're going to talk about. So I'll normalize myself here. So, which we're going to talk about. Anything you want to say about Ghost Rider before I go? Have you read any Ghost Rider?
No, not really. I remember when I was a kid, I had I had that Peter Parker issue where that was written by Mackie, where they teamed up near the end of the first volume
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. You're talking
Yeah.
about the Venom and Demo Goblin doppelganger.
No. I'm talking about like later '90s, like right before the Volume 2 reboot. It was
Oh,
post Clone Saga, right before Volume 2 happened. There's an issue. They team up for an issue in Mackie's Peter Parker run.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, is Mackie even doing comics anymore? Is
I
he
don't
completely out?
I don't really know.
He kind of fell off the earth there,
Mhm.
from what I understand. I know the Byrne Mackie run. I have never read it of Spider-Man is not well regarded. I'll just say that.
Right.
I
Yeah.
own
Well,
it.
that
I own
was
it.
people have said that I think he was having health problems around that time, and
Oh, Mackie
also
was.
I
Oh, man, that
yeah,
sucks.
and I think also he was like burned out possibly because he had been writing the title. He'd been writing Spider-Man, I think, consistently since like right before the Clone Saga ish.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because Web of Spider-Man, he was doing Web of Spider-Man, I believe,
Yeah.
and
He was
then
doing that, and then he was on the self-titled title before it became Peter Parker, and then he was on Peter Parker, and then he was part of the reboot, the Volume 2 reboot with Byrne, and it's he was probably burned out.
makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, yeah, because he write the Revelations arc.
Yeah, he wrote the final part, which I think was actually mostly written by Glenn Greenwald, the editor, because of like it was like rewritten by him. I think Zach would know it in more detail than I do,
Interesting. Interesting.
but
Yeah, 'cause I thought that issue was really well done, to be honest,
mhm.
personally. So, which that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Talk about that. So let's talk about my last recommendation, which I made you read, which I really appreciate you did.
Yeah.
Which is Christian Ward and Patrick Reynolds, Bloodstained Tooth. And I gotta tell you, this was an interesting comic. I bought how I first discovered this comic, Adam, was I saw the cover and I was hooked immediately. I really liked the cover a lot. And it was one of those things where I was like, man, and this is what the first issue is which I'll show also here. I have the first issue. I have all the issues, but I I was blown away of just like how this was a very grabbing cover. And then it wasn't just this one. It was this one followed up with it. That was the cover.
That's a
And
good
I
one,
was
yeah.
yeah, it's a good one. And I was like, man, like you're selling because you got to sell a book by you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can sell a book by its cover. And
Of course.
that's what you have to do. And comics, for some reason, don't believe that right now. A lot of them don't, which is really sad. And you're missing out on a lot of money, in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, these two, and I've heard people again, how people, through the grapevine. I saw people on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, talking about during like last year, a couple years ago, whatever. And I thought, huh, I like those covers are interesting. Didn't have any page layouts that I saw. I just picked up on a whim. Picked up 2 copies, and then I proceeded to read. I picked up the first 2 issues, and then you can see here. Eventually, I read them, and then I went on Hoopla. Yes, Hoopla, the library app you can get free comics from. Yes, and I got mine through the Seattle Public Library when I was living in Seattle. Rest in peace, me living in Seattle. And I blew through those 5 issues. Like I blew through them, and they hadn't released the second trade yet. So I was like, shit, I got to get these other issues. And I eventually got them, and I didn't actually finish reading it until like this week. I just been busy, and I'm like, I want to finish reading it. So I read all of it from the beginning. And I got all the single issues. I want to read them because I like reading it physically, and I already had a bunch of them already. So I'm like, well, I'll just finish it out. And I gotta tell you, if for people who want to know, it's in a nutshell. Again, no, try to keep it spoiler free as much as possible. But I thought when I read those first 5 issues, I loved it, and I thought it was a very original take on vampires, which is saying a lot in my opinion. I'm going to
I
get your
agree.
opinion here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was going to say I thought it was a pretty original idea, which again is saying a lot because vampires are not original. It's talk about
Mhm.
derivative, and this is the main character, Atticus Sloan. He's a vampire, obviously, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try to keep it very, very. It's because the premise is very interesting. And Patrick Reynolds' art is just good. I'll show some more layouts here in a second, but again, vampires is in Halloween go like peanut butter and jelly, right? So I thought this was a perfect, Halloween comic. I read it. It we'll get. I don't think it's perfect, but I'll give them critiques here in a second. But I will say I did really like this series a lot, and I thought it was very well done and a really creative, original idea. That I'll get to how it ends here in a minute, but yeah, I thought this was great, and the art was fantastic. Patrick Reynolds' art is it's great. It's very realistic, very gritty, very Sean Phillips, if you will, if you want to compare an artist with him. I love it though. I thought it was great. Yeah, and I made you read it. I think it's cool you agreed that it's original idea, but kind of go off from there.
Well, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's I like it. I guess I feel like, well, okay, it's a very quick read, I thought.
It is quick. It is
Which that was,
well
and that's
said.
I don't have really a problem with that. Well, I don't have a problem with that really because for reading it for this show, that was great.
It's
It's
a
not
breeze, man. It's a
no,
breeze.
yeah, it's a very brisk, kind of easy read. Like it's not really dense. Um
Which
and I think
that's one of my criticisms. We'll
I
get to
that's
that in a
well that's
second.
see I think that is like I mean I think it is an interesting idea. You do vampires. The thing about vampires is like how do you introduce something kind of new and interesting,
Fresh, right?
like
Yeah.
because we know that, well, because there are so many takes on the mythological aspects of the vampire, and but it honestly, the rules are usually consistent with like how to
Pretty, yeah.
kill them and all that, but and what they do and their weaknesses, whatever. um yeah, I mean, the art is good. The art's well see the art's good. Sometimes I feel like it's a little too realistic. I mean, it's on the edge of realism, but it does have a grit to it. You're right. That's like, I think that's the strength of it, is the grit of
Yeah,
it.
I
Sometimes I'm
agree.
like, sometimes I am though a little like, oh, this is very real. It's almost a little too real, slightly too real. Like I kind of sometimes I want um something that's
You
I don't
want
know how
you
to
want you want
say
you
it.
want it more stylized. You want it to
Yeah,
be
like,
more cartoon, like more not a
well,
cartoon, but a little more of
sometimes
a yeah. Go ahead.
sometimes like I mean, like I don't want to knock the artist. Like I mean, the technique is obviously, there's technique there. Like I appreciate the technique. That's the I saw this quote, like someone was like, "Oh, I can appreciate the technique, the craft, and like not necessarily like the result."
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
the thing is, like I think the result is good. Like it's not my favorite, but
Sure.
I do think it is good. And the thing is what I want to say about this is this would make a pretty you could adapt this into like a TV show pretty easy.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there because I think
um
yeah. Go ahead. Continue.
and I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting story. I think I wish that maybe there it was fleshed out a little more. If that's kind of a, I guess that's a pun. But I do
No,
appreciate that it's
I didn't even
um
think about it. It's perfect.
yeah, it's like I do wish it was a little more fleshed out. Maybe there was more meat. um
Yeah, to sink your teeth into.
Yes, because I mean, I think this is
It's not wrong though. It's
no, yeah,
right.
no, yeah. Like I think what we have is good.
I agree.
I think that like you could do more with it, and I know he wants to do more with it, but like these 10 issues, that this part of this chapter of the story is done, and he wants to explore the world more, which that's cool.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
that is good.
Yeah, he did a
Because
good
like yeah,
job.
there's a lot of stuff. I guess like you go into cons, like there's it feels like you could do some more with this, and I do feel like yeah, like there's just enough to sink your teeth into, but there could be more. Like I think like character wise, like
Yeah.
the main character is interesting enough, but I feel like he's the only guy that gets like development, and it's a long series of it takes a while for him to get development. And
Because
the way the
he
plot
barely gets to.
yeah, he
Yeah. I
does.
mean,
Like
but
it's kind of last minute development. Like, but you just follow him on his mission, and that's the thing too. And like the villains are all right, but then the villains basically there's a
become like
flip.
yeah.
There's a flip in the last half that all of a sudden that seems kind of quick. But I think what's going on here is like you read all this in one go, and there's a lot of time I think passing between issues because
I agree. Yeah.
he has a month to complete his mission. And
Mhm.
so, but it feels like it's happening over the span of like a week.
A week because it's so brisk. Yeah.
especially yeah, it's so brisk, and especially like if you're like me and you read it all today.
It feels like it all happened in a week,
Yeah, or like, a
right?
couple days.
A couple days. Yeah. That's a
But
great point.
it's been like a month. But I do think it is an interesting concept. Um and it's executed competently,
I agree. I agree. No,
There
I
I
think
think I think I want like a little more, like maybe a couple more issues.
all right. I think I know what you want. And I think I
Hit me.
know. All right, here's because I told my wife this the other day where I was telling her we're going to do the show, and we were talking about it because I want her to read it. And when I reread it, I kind of forgot how quick it was.
It's
And
quick. This isn't
it's
Immortal Hulk.
this is not Immortal Hulk. No, this is
Immortal Hulk is very dense, but it's not
right.
too overpowering.
And listen, I don't want to make it sound like you have to be a certain amount of like captions or whatever.
No, yeah.
A story is the story. How long it needs to be, and I will give it credit. It's consistent enough. It flows well enough where I don't
Sure.
really. I notice it, but I'm not like I got ripped off. I never felt ripped off. Like
Sure, yeah, yeah.
I'm not trying to. That sounds wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Like I got my money's worth.
Well,
I
yeah,
felt.
because a lot of people say you've talked about this. I think we've all kind of discussed this. Like modern comics, a lot of people feel like they're just not worth the price point because
Yeah, I agree.
people are constantly saying, "Oh, I read this in 5 minutes," and I'm kind of like,
It
how? Because even like modern Marvel stuff, I think it still takes me like at least a minute a page to read.
Mhm.
They're like 20
Yeah.
pages. It takes me like a minute ish.
Oh, is this a James Tinian, Andrew? I don't know if that is or not, but I'll check that out. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what version that's from, the Bram Stoker
I
version.
think he's talking. Is he talking about he might be talking about the Coppola adaptation.
Is
They
it
they did
new?
it. No, it's old. It's older. I think it's older. I think Mignola does the art for it.
Andrew, holler at us. Let us
Yeah.
know. Because I know Tinian's doing James Tinian's doing like a Dracula thing, which is cool.
Oh yeah, that just got announced. I think that just came out, right?
They just came out. Yeah, I haven't read it yet. I'll probably check it out at some point. God, I feel like just kind of a side note. Like I've been reading a lot of Marvel and DC stuff, and all right, you're right. It's Mignola,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
Roy
yeah.
Thomas. Damn. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, Andrew. I always appreciate you, homie. You know that. Dude, like it's really cool to see. Like I feel comics have starting. I feel like the quality overall is starting to kind of go up a little bit. Like I've been reading some comics, the newer stuff, and Marvel's been kind of inconsistent. I felt more than DC. DC's really killing it. I feel
Mhm.
overall. I mean, there's some stinkers here, there on every, but like I feel like comics are starting to kind of turn a corner a little bit. Like, I mean, I really do. Like, because I was very critical of Marvel stuff. Like, I'm like, I'm only
Mhm.
reading Moon Knight and that's it. Like,
Right.
and Spider Man, obviously, because I'm
Mhm.
a, you know, I'm a whore for Spider Man.
Sure. Yeah.
But that being said, like, I feel like, dude, the new Hulk series is great. Which if you like Immortal Hulk, go pick up PKJ's Hulk, dude.
Yeah, we'll have to do that because I think I'm gonna start that after I finish Immortal Hulk. Because I mean, I met PKJ at Comic Con, and I was like, I'm kind of interested in your Hulk, dude, and my friends like your Supermans, and he was very
Freaking
appreciative.
love,
He was
very dude.
very nice.
Such a I'm almost like I can't even like comment anymore officially about his work because I just love him so much. Like I mean, like everyone's like, you're just kissing his butt, and it's like, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to like not like something that someone's so actually caring, and
Sure. He's
it
very
just shows you,
appreciative. He's very
yeah.
appreciative
And
of
that
the
yeah,
support.
dude, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like it goes a long way for people, creators, to actually be appreciative. You may not like everything they do, but when they're appreciative and not a complete dick,
Mhm.
like it makes you like things, even though you may not like it like initially. You like it less if you didn't know that. If you didn't know they were great people, if you find out they're great people, you're a lot more forgiving of things. Like, yeah, it's not the greatest, but it's actually pretty solid. You know, you're not
Mhm.
gonna. My point is, you're not gonna talk mad shit about it. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, it's all right. You know, which is better. I'd rather, I almost feel like, yeah, that's a whole different thing. So anyway, PKJ Hulk. Speaking of Halloween, PKJ's Hulk is actually really good for Halloween too. It's
Mm.
monsters and it's great.
Yeah, because I
I
skimmed that preview a while ago and I was like, I might have to because it just started. I was like, maybe I'll pick this up, like
yeah. Oh man, yeah. Oh God, no. I'm not reading. I'll say this: if the X-Men ever go back to being good again, I may read the Crow arc just for shits and giggles because I'm bored or I want to be fun to like, because I find it like there's so much content interesting by
Mhm.
itself. Not the story. Knowing what's in it, I'm like, it sounds like an ass story, but there's so much content in it. It's like it's gotta be it's fascinating because yeah. Anyway. Back to Bloodstained Teeth. I want to talk about, like, so we were talking about this, you get your money's worth. I would say that you could argue that, but I feel the art's so good and so like gritty. You can, I feel that you can just look at the art by itself a lot without having to go read the story. Like I go back in, like, some of these layouts I love the coloring of it too. Like it's just a very
Coloring's interesting, yeah.
yeah, it's the art is gritty and very realistic, but it's also the art is very you know, uh artsy or very creative, and I like that about the book. And here's some layouts from it. And I like this again. It's not, it's stylized, and I like that about the book. And I don't know, like I'm gonna go criticisms before I go heavy like positives. I definitely feel it's a little undercooked. And what I mean by that,
Sure.
and I don't
Yeah.
mean it in a very harsh way. Let me explain it like this.
It
It's
feels like
like
there could be
you could
a
eat
little
a
more.
cookie undercooked and it tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
It's kind of messy,
Mhm.
you know, and it may like not be always good for you to eat undercooked cookie, depending on what's in it, but it still gets job done. It's still good. And you're like, it's pretty good still. You know, because I feel that the first 10 issues could have been like, or no, excuse me, the first 5 issues could have been 10 issues by itself. And you bring up a great point that there's so much that Christian introduces in this world that's interesting, that I feel like but he could have done that, and he condensed so much into 10 issues. But I also feel it's a positive because
Sure,
he does
yeah.
it really well.
Mhm.
Like,
That is
right?
that is kind of the because like I
You're
feel
muted.
like we am I still muted?
Sorry. Hello?
Um,
Still,
hello?
yeah, still muted. Is it
Oh.
me? Hold on. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm still logged in here. Because it could be me. I might hit him up. Yeah, it's me. Keep going. It's me.
Um, I feel
I'm saying.
like I feel like we talk a lot about um comics these days are a little
Keep
um
talking.
they what do they do? They take
Uh-oh.
they take um they take a story and they stretch it out for a trade, essentially. And so it actually is impressive that he's able to pack all this stuff in to 10 issues. Whereas, but on the other hand, some of it, it just feels like it moves so fast that maybe there needed to be a bit of a slowdown to let some of the narrative and the ideas breathe a bit more. Um, yeah. So it's a I guess it's a double-edged sword kind of thing.
Yeah. No, it is, and I think that that's my biggest criticism of the story, because it's a great
Sure.
premise. And I will say that you brought up something that I said to my wife too, man, like to Morgan, like on the way when we were talking about this. I said the same thing he said, that this very well could be a real easy sell to a Netflix to sell the story, because the characters are so really interesting. They're really flamboyant in a good way, and it's yeah, again, it's got intrigue, got pop culture references you could easily do in here that are really fun that tie into the story, and it's just, again, like it builds off each other really well. But I almost feel like, because it's so condensed, because it is, it's not, it's the opposite of a Zeb Wells story, right? It's like
Yeah.
instead of like, here's something I'm just gonna stretch you out, it's like, here's something I'm gonna cram as much as I can in here, and he does a good job.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's
Because
impressive. Yeah.
he's basically doing he's doing a bad guy each issue. Um and that's a very old school form of storytelling in comics and TV, the whole monster of the week, villain of the week, case of the week thing. It's impressive that he's doing that here. But it just feels like it kind of goes fast. Um
It goes too fast.
yeah,
Yeah. So
because I think, and because I think what makes some of that old stuff work as well as it does is because
Rob,
there
stay
is
on. You're on.
there is
Continue, go.
more there's more meat to it. Like, you pick up an old issue of Spider-Man where he's just fighting Doc Ock for an
Mhm.
issue, and there's a
Mhm.
lot going on. This is
Yeah.
like this is like it's that, but it's also not that.
Yeah. Really quick, really side note, Rob, I hope you're still on. I think you're still on. I was gonna message you the other day to see if you want to talk about this next month. If you know, we talked about this, I think. So holler at me. I was gonna message you the other day, but you came on, so I'm just gonna say, if you're in on this, you want to talk about it next month, let me know. Message me. Miss you, homie. Okay, I think you might have commented. Let's see here. I love Rob. No, it's not Rob. It's Andrew. I love
I wonder
Andrew
what
too.
Rob thinks about the art in this comic.
Oh God, Rob would hate this. Oh hell yeah. Okay, really quick, Rob. I say jokingly that you said you'd hate this art. Just comment. I'm gonna throw up a layout real quick and let me know if you hate. If you don't, I mean, I don't think you hate it, but this is not your style. You like a lot more exaggerated stuff, I would imagine. So holler at me if you think this art is not your thing. I don't think I love it. This is more my style. I like more realistic stuff usually. I mean, whatever. I can't really say I have a style. If it's good, it's good. I like Ed McGuinness
I mean,
stuff, which is very
yeah.
super cartoony.
I like a lot of different stuff. I guess it's just it depends on the final product, the execution.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can appreciate the craft and the technique. Obviously, this dude is a great artist.
He's a great artist. I like Patrick
But
Reynolds a lot. Yeah.
but I don't know.
Let's see here.
Interesting.
Interesting. See, this is why I freaking love Rob. Rob is, he's an artist. He's right. He's drawing effing Spawn Kills Every Spawn from Todd McFarlane. So he's obviously a hella gifted artist and storyteller. So, and we differ a lot on our opinions of how stories should be told, maybe sometimes. But I find it he's such a brilliant mind, Rob. You're awesome. That like this, you bring up a good point. I like the coloring a lot, though. I really do.
I like it, but I also I like it, and I the thing is, the thing about this book is it's got an interesting look to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's got a very distinctive look, which that I think helps.
I agree. Yeah.
That it does. Like you said, you can just look at the art, because I feel like I was just thinking this today. There's like so many different ways you can read comic books. Like you can just read the words and kind of like passively look at the art, and that's
Why would you do that?
I think what I mean
right. No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I mean, like you look at the art for about as long as it takes you to read the words, and I feel like that's how people. I kind of feel like maybe that might be how people are reading most books today, and that's why they read them so fast, because I find that I do that a lot. The other way you can read a book is you can really stop and you can just look at the art and just like ignore the words and just kind of like admire the art. Or you do the longest way would be like you read each panel and then you really stop to look at the art, and that
yeah. And look at what the artist, and I'm sure Rob's giving us more gold here. Let me go back here and see, make sure. Okay, here we go. More Rob Gold stuff here. Let's see.
There are a lot of they use the dots. There's a lot of the dot thing going, the Ben-Day dots, or whatever.
Yeah, which I love those. Those are great textures.
There is a lot of that in the coloring. So they're kind of trying to mimic the like old 4-color printing thing with the coloring.
He brings it, that is a great point. I love that. And again, like Rob is a master designer and colorist and artist, man. Like when he speaks, I listen, because we subjectively can disagree on what we prefer in certain things, but man, like when he explains things to me, I'm like, God damn, you're right. Like that's a great point. I love this look of it, though. I mean, like I'm very much like.
The thing is, I kind of like it when you have a realistic style like this and you do flatter colors, because I find that when you really render the coloring, you really add all that definition. That I don't usually like that when like it's realistic and then like there's a lot of depth and rendering in the colors. Yeah, because that kind of that's like too realistic to me. That makes it too realistic. But then this almost has like a pop art kind of thing going on.
That's it. And Rob, again, I keep going to you here in the comments if you are still watching. Do you think that's what? Because I think the pop art is exactly, especially this. Like this, I'll show this panel, which I love this panel a lot. Where he just says,
yeah. I think I remember you posting that a while back.
I did.
On your Instagram, because I was like, I read that page and was like, oh, I think I remember this from Paul posting it a long time ago.
It was a while ago. Where the hell did I take it? I didn't delete it. God damn it, Paul! You should get more organized. No, I shouldn't. You should shut the hell up. I do what the hell I want, because
you got to be provocative and you got to be organized.
Oh, it's right there in my face. I'm just an idiot. Dude, yeah, this is the pop art. It feels very pop art to me, for sure. Let's see what Rob says. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I can see that. I mean, I think that there's definitely a pop art element to this, which I think is interesting, but it's not one. It's definitely an influence, but it's not one for one, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but I think you're on the money with that, though, too. If that makes any sense. Like it's not. It's 100%, but it feels definitely like it was there as an influence and a kind of a way of almost like a starting point. Because look at these two panels right here, right? Like the bottom, like that's exactly pop art. Yep. It's exactly pop art. So yeah, I think Rob brings up a great point. I do also feel like I love when like people just throw like they can get exaggerated and go crazy a little bit, and that's like no, that's the feeling I'm going for. I feel I because being musicians, Adam, we both can understand like tone And
Yeah.
you know, guitar tones aren't always going to be the same every album. You have to mix it up, and sometimes you go for a dirtier sound, and it
Mhm.
really feels unique and authentic. And that you almost feel like this is like the guitar tone version of that. Here, it's like I'm going for a very distinct version. This is not what I'm always going to use, but it's
Mhm.
going to serve its purpose here, which I think it does, to be honest. You know, in my opinion, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a see. Rob gets it. He fucking gets it. God, Rob's
Yeah,
so good.
the style that, cuz again, it's a distinctive look for the book. Like
Yeah,
it's like boom, this is an in your face modern cool
right.
sexy vampire thing. We're doing something a little different. Like I think he even referred to it as like a vampire noir thing, like,
No, yeah. But I
but
would say
not in like a more like in the crime mystery aspect of the whole thing, not in like necessarily the way
yeah,
the way the coloring looks, like the
right. But
giving
the
it like
way
a dark moody thing, like not doing that, but like, oh yeah.
it's like, you know what it's like? It feels like, and Rob, you can tell me if I'm full of shit, but it feels like they went for black and white without going black and white. Like they wanted that same aesthetic, but
Mm.
it was almost too on the nose. So they went with how can we make it like that without going that direction? Does that
Yeah,
make
because
sense?
I read some commentary and I think the color, I think Christian Ward said the color, like he loved what the colorist did. He just like she was given the art to color and this is what she did with it. And he
Yeah, no,
liked it. So
no, I like it too, but I think
yeah,
but it does feel flat. I think that is, but it could be a purpose, you know, purposeful thing. Like I want it to look flat, you know,
sure.
and
I
have
mean,
because
I like that. I like the flatness of it because
no,
then it's
no,
like, okay,
yeah,
it doesn't, it's not
you don't
too
lose
real.
detail. It
Yeah.
feels like yeah,
Oh yeah, there's still all this detail.
yeah,
It's in the art, it's in the pencils, the inking.
it's in the line art. It's in the line art. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and everything. But like, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's pros and cons to each one, right? You do lose like, you know, a little bit if you do a flat color too, right? Um,
Mm.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, he's bringing up a good point. You know, yeah, that's a great point. So I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. I do feel it gives it a uniqueness though that this does
Sure,
not
yeah.
look like every other book out there.
No, yeah.
Besides maybe like okay, besides maybe a Sean Phillips Ed Brubaker story. So maybe that's where it kind of, you know, but it doesn't, but I would say it feels even more still unique to that, but that's just me. Which by the way, we got a hell of a lot out of this that I was not anticipating. This has been a great conversation. And of course, Rob had to come in and help out, and Andrew too. I mean, thanks guys, Andrew and Rob. I will message you. I will give you a date for next month sometime, and this is going to be interesting. So I'll be in touch in usual times. So, because I asked Rob, I go, Rob, like, I want you on. Like, he's like, I don't want to read modern comics. I'm like, fair.
That's
You
fair.
know, it's fair. You know, but he's like, you don't want me on just to read something. I want to, you know, give me more on my, you know, use my experience for art. And I'm like, all right. Which I like, obviously, because Rob could give me great insight on this. So, this steampunk Joe Kelly and the very infamous Chris Bacalo.
Mm.
Is it Bacalo? But
I don't really know how you say. I think a lot of people just say Bachalo, but
Bacalo. It's gonna be. I'll just say this. I'm not gonna tell you what it's gonna be from, but I'm gonna grab a certain scene from a movie when we do these comics reviews and the art, mainly the art review, and I'm just gonna be using it a lot. I'll just say that. I'll tell you what it is after the show.
all right.
Adam, you'll appreciate it. What did you say? What you're referring to about not coming on for comics or not read modern comics? I apologize. Maybe I misheard you. I don't want to put anything in your words in your mouth. Obviously, I love you too much to do that.
Ah, yes.
Okay. You know what? That's a good
fair.
point. That's fair. That's fair. I thought you were. I thought you just didn't want to read modern comics for because it didn't because I might have been confusing that with the Star Wars stuff you did for Bounty Hunters, because I know you did not like that when you guys reviewed that. So maybe I got confused with that. So I apologize, sir. But yes, that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, good, Rob. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I apologize. Anyway, this will be a lot of fun. And speaking of fun in future episodes, before we get out of here, and Rob, I'm curious what you think about this. You're probably not going to be a huge fan of this guy, but maybe I'm wrong. But we're going to talk about a very infamous book next week. Infamous, very famous, you could say. In fact, some people consider it. Well, it's gotten more hate recently, but before, I'd say like maybe 5-8 years ago, this was probably not as hated. It's more loved and like, oh, this is great. It's so dark. And of course, I'm talking about The Killing Joke. And next week, we're going to be talking about this story. And is The Killing Joke bad?
Damn.
I'm just going to say that. Alan Moore hates it, but Alan Moore, I don't really care what Alan Moore thinks because Alan Moore is insane. But are you, Rob, if you're still watching, are you a Brian Bolland fan? I'm curious. So I don't know if you are or not. People love him. I think he's great. He's a good artist,
Sure.
But
yeah.
I don't overly love him like maybe some people do, but
I haven't seen. I haven't seen a lot of his interior stuff. I just see like his covers, basically.
He's mostly a cover guy now. Yeah.
Well, because that kind of his style lends itself well to covers, I would say.
But I mean, like, I feel like everyone's style is a good. It's a money shot. It's supposed to be like, you know what I mean. It's not.
But like there's, I don't know. Like there's a reason why they get him for covers now. Like I guess I don't know. Is what I would say. You know what I mean? Like.
Right. Well, I'll tell you.
His art in The Killing Joke is good. Now it's the coloring.
Sure.
Now it's the color. You have.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Just for the record, I've only read this comic once.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there. Only once, and there might be a reason for that. Just say that. Anyway, this. Okay. Let's see if Rob says here. Let's see what he says about Mr. Bolland here.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
Okay. Mad Love. Yeah. I mean, he's a talented artist. I mean, I'm not saying he's terrible by any means of the imagination. Well, we'll get into all that because, but here's the thing. We're going to be having, I'm assuming Chris will be there. And it's really pretty exciting because I'm going to announce here that, barring anything crazy happening, Joe Corallo will be coming back on next week to talk about The Killing Joke, the great writer who's just got tapped to. He's writing a King Arthur freaking young adult graphic novel from the cartoon, which I've heard great things about the cartoon. I need to watch it. I've heard, I've seen like things here and there about it. But we've got Joe coming on next week, and he's coming on the next week after that to come back on to do the Legion. Long live the Legion series. So I'm excited about that. So I managed to talk Joe coming on 2 weeks in a row. How lucky am I? The hell did I do for this? Dude, Joe's awesome. I love that guy. That guy gives a lot of his time up and just super gracious and nice and just awesome. And a good solid writer too, man. Beckstar, go read it. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really fun to read. But yeah, and just the last thing I'll say about this, Killing Joke will be I'll just tease it because only the 3 people will be watching this, including the 2 people now, but whatever. This will be teasing a brand new series for a certain podcast next month. We'll just say that's kind of a alpha episode. I'll just say that. So, not my podcast or my show, but a different show will be, doing that. So it'll be leave it there. There's a lot of fun stuff next week with The Killing Joke, the alpha episode. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do how bad is. I don't know if I'll do The Killing Joke or not. I kind of hurt Rob. I've hurt Rob a little bit with that with Rob Liefeld in our episode. I tried to do a grabbing clickbait headline, and that backfired on Rob. I feel bad, Rob. I'm sorry. Again, I always feel bad about that. I feel responsible that Rob Liefeld blocked you because of me. Sorry. But I keep
Yeah.
trying to say, watch the episode. We give it praise. We praise the story. It's just to get people to watch it thinking they're going to hate Rob Liefeld and they go, oh, it's actually good. Yes, it's actually a good Captain America story. But it just, that's what happens with clickbait. You do a clickbait headline, you know. I do feel one day I will rectify this, Rob, for you. I will not. I will make Rob Liefeld unblock you. That is a goal in my life. It's on my bucket list, and I don't care if it takes 10 years, Rob. I'm gonna do it. Liefeld will unblock you, and it'll be by me. I will make it so. Anyway, yeah. I'll hit you up for about the steampunk. Chris Bacalo. Oh God, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Episode we'll do next month, so I'm excited to do that. Yeah, man. Any last words? And really quick, Andrew and Rob, if you're still here, if you want to give any quick Halloween recommendations while we're talking, hollers, for people to read, go hit them up. So, yeah, I mean, final thoughts.
Let's see. Do I recommend it? Maybe. I mean, it's more based on you, the viewer of this episode. You should read it and form your own opinion, and then tell us that we got it right or we got it wrong.
I think we got it right, to be honest. I feel we're pretty fair with this.
I think, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and I can't wait for the TV show.
I mean, has it been
then I'll
optioned?
be like, huh?
Has it been optioned?
No, I don't know, but you never know.
It feels like I feel this would be huge.
Yeah. The thing is like it's like then I can say to my mom like, hey, we should watch this. I actually read the whole thing.
Mom, I read the comic.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I will say this. I want Bloodstained Teeth to continue, and I feel it could have been easily an ongoing. Like easily. Like I've read the first couple issues of Damn Them All, and I love that series, and I can't wait to binge it. I have like 8 issues to read now. And I can't wait to go. I love Cy Spurrier. I think he's a great writer. And oh boy. That's fair. But yeah, like I think Bloodstained Teeth is worth checking out. It's a maybe too quick of a read, but I will say it's impressive that Christian Ward gets a lot of world building done without a lot of exposition, and he uses ghost illusions very well, very well in that. And character development and building world building, and does it well. And I'll say this, it's a well-crafted comic all the way through. Yeah. The coloring's unique. It's a unique comic. Go check it out. It's worth picking. Listen, it's an independent comic, guys. Go pick it up because it's not. If you're anti-corporate, Image is still kind of corporate, but it's not as bad as Marvel and DC. So
I mean, this is an original creator-owned story right here.
Yeah. Go pick it up. Go read it on Hoopla. It's on Hoopla. Go check it out on Comixology. But I mean, if you want it for free and legally, go check out Hoopla.
I wonder if it's on that Omnibus app that I told you about.
I know. I need to check that app out more, man. I really
because that for everyone who doesn't know, there's a new app called Omnibus, and it's basically got a lot of the indie-ish publishers on it. It's got Image and a lot of those, and so I wonder if this is probably on there. Anyway,
it probably is. A lot of the more independent stuff seems to be on the Omnibus because Comixology since got bought out by Amazon has just gone to shit. Just be real, it's gone to shit. It used to be such a great place for independent creators. I used to go on there and I could find all kinds of crazy shit. It was great, and it went away and it sucked. So anyway, go follow the Comic Binge on Twitter. Go follow it on Instagram. It's all on the bottom there. You can see it on there. Go subscribe, like videos. Adam, where can people find you at, my friend?
Well, I'm at Enchilada Legs on the site formerly known as Twitter, and I'm on the Spidey Dude Experience on the Spidey Dude Radio Network. We just we're powering through Zeb Wells' run. We started with Spencer's run. Go back and listen to all our episodes of that. Paul's there.
Yeah.
We started with Spencer. It was a rollicking good time. We're knee deep in the Zeb Wells run right now, and
And full,
we just did our slot symposium first official
which
episode. It's
the
on the
first,
Comic
yeah,
Binge. It's on the
and
Spidey Dude
yeah,
Network YouTube.
which
Check
I
that
thought
out. We're happy with that.
I
That's
thought
going to
we
be
did a great job on that too.
a long running series for the next year at least, probably. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
get
I
excited for
thought
that. And
we did a great job on that episode. I really did. I thought we did it. We did it fair. We critiqued. We gave a lot of credit. And I think also distinguished maybe things that were unfair for Dan Slott on that
yeah.
run. That weren't his fault, that he kind of had to take the brunt for because he was the first guy out, and but he, like a good soldier, he took the hits, and but he, at the same time, I still think he's probably the strongest writer of all those people. Again, I love the Dan Slott run, so I like it more than you guys for sure. But I feel that you guys are, as you guys are reading it, it's that you guys aren't like flipping on it, but it's not as bad as you guys remembered it being or heard it was anyway. So we definitely give it some fair critiques and like analyze it in a way that it's been fun. I've been really enjoying it. And New Ways to Die, the next episode we do is gonna be great. So can't wait to do that. Yeah, next week we got The Killing Joke. After that, we got Long Live the Legion. And then after that, we've got probably, I don't know, I'm sure what we have after that. I'll have to figure that out. I think I might be where me and Rob be doing our steampunk episode. So we'll have to hit Rob up on that. Not, wink, wink, Rob. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to figure that out. Either way, thank you everyone who's watched the video. Everyone who supported the channel, really appreciate it. And Adam, why don't you take us out?
read more comics.